All right, everybody. Just want to introduce you to Ted Stokes. He has graciously agreed to come on this morning. For those of you that don't know, Ted does. He's like my right arm here in Houston. He works with me. He makes calls and allows me to get out into the field by calling on different lead materials and things like that. So when we start new lead sources and things, you can know that Ted is going to be somebody that's going to be at the forefront of the charge, and he's going to be doing a lot of the testing there. And then he and I run the appointments together. And Ted's about the best there is, and he agreed to come on here and talk to us about the way he's approaching a couple of the different types of leads and give some feedback. We would have him on Talk Fusion, but that's not going to work for this week. We'll try that in the future. But between last Friday, between the last two Fridays, in other words, a week ago tomorrow, Ted was able to set, and we were able to write 10 life applications between the Fridays, which I think anybody that's listening to this would know that that's pretty remarkable, and it's due to the guy that's on the phone here right now. And one of the main sources for that were these Mary Wong aged leads. Everybody knows they're 50 cents at the most expensive, and the more you buy, the less they are. And Ted has got a lot to say about those. And Ted, good morning. And why don't you give us a little bit of some background on how you approach these age leads and just your opinion. You find an awful lot of stuff in there.
Sure. Obviously lead sources can be expensive. So, and the other thing is the definition of a lead can vary based on a sign lead, age lead, a high quality A lead you purchase. But age lead, and each one, and the point I'm making there is each one you have to look at the source, and then you have to customize your approach when you contact the client. Now, age leads, what I came up with, I didn't reinvent the wheel, and I know we've got a lot of experienced agents out there. I'm not trying to tell you that I made all the mistakes in this business. So what you do is you make a mistake, and then you just refine and improve and come up with ideas that you can generate a good income in this industry. Now, what I've done with age leads, I decided that, for example, that the cost is so small per lead, you're going to get 100, 200, whatever. You get on the phone, and as soon as you get the person on the phone, you do not go into a sales mode. What you basically do is you act like an afterthought, like you're doing them a favor. And what I basically have come up with on an age lead is, hi, you identify yourself. My name is Ted Stokes. I'm a licensed insurance agent. And I noticed, let me ask you a question. Did you ever get a call from somebody regarding your request? I think you were looking for a quote or information for either burial insurance or life insurance. And then you be quiet. So what you've done there is you're not selling anything. You're identifying the fact that either they did get a call or they did not get a call. The folks that say, well, yeah, nobody ever called me. And remember, these leads are generated, I believe, and Justin can correct me on this, but, either through the internet or over the last 60, 90 days, people that got these leads originally maybe gave up on trying to contact them, or it was a bad time, or the customer. You'd be amazed how many people, it's all based, 90% of life is timing. They never got the call. You jogged your brain, and they go, oh, yeah, I did go. Nobody called me, and then you get into your mode. Now, the other thing is you're going to get 25% of these leads. They have no clue what you're talking about. Don't get discouraged. These are so inexpensive, and it's a numbers game. I never did anything, or you probably accidentally hit a button on the keyboard, and it went into a lead, and I apologize for that. And you go to the next call. It just go right down the line. And so let's get back to, okay, the other response I can say is, yeah, I did get a call, and I got some quotes, and, okay, all right, well, let me tell you a little bit about what we do, and you just take control of the conversation at that point and tell them that, well, we have access to, many companies, and we do specialize in folks with high risk, whether it's diabetes or health, or good health, or whatever your pre-existing, or whatever your budget can allow. So we basically shop around and try to find the best company with the best, most competitive premium. And let's get into some information here. And then at that point, like a regular sales call, you want to you want to go ahead and get their profile. And I also, I know that on some, historically over the years, and some agents, some insurance companies, if you're a captive agent with one company, they train you never to quote on the phone. It's 2012. Folks are pretty pretty sick and tired of that type of approach where they want to know what it costs. So in today's economy, I take control and tell them right up front, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what the cost is. I'll give you a variance because, Mr. Jones, it's really about your budget. Everybody wants to be covered, but we don't want to stress you out every month on the premium. And there is an umbrella of an attitude when you get on the phone with an agent lead as well. And one of the things I want to make clear is the appointment is your goal. You're not looking to sell anything on the phone. Obviously, if you do have a company that you can do over the internet and you can submit applications, that's another ball game. But on age leads, people of that nature, you want to make the appointment. But the other thing you want to do most importantly, is you want to qualify and you want to minimize your risk so that when you go out there, that golf balls up on a tee, and all you got to do is hit it down the fairway. And that's what I try to do. I set these appointments up, non-confrontational, just basically asking the right questions. And the other thing is, it's important. You want to develop a little bit of a relationship, a little bit of rapport. One of the things I do when I get their attention after the first 30 seconds, and they do give me the green light to go forward, basically, for example, today's Thursday, I'll say, how's your Thursday going? Your attitude's everything. I mean, these are fundamental stuff. I'm sure you guys and gals all know that, but nobody wants to speak to somebody that's, not positive and upbeat. So how's your Thursday going? Let them say whatever. Oh, it's kind of rainy today, or it's, I got to go, I'm at work right now, and, just play off that for a little bit. Act like you're human. You're just not a robotic agent looking for a sale or an appointment. Let them get to know if they can laugh a little bit, if you can chuckle or keep it light, all the better.
That's awesome.
So that's an overview.
Ted, just real quick, as always, now everybody can hear why you're so good at what you do and you're so good on the phone. And guys, I'll tell you right now, when we show up, these people are hugging him. They all like him. If I end up running the appointment by myself, half the time you can tell that they're disappointed because they wanted to meet Ted. And, so in light of that, Ted, you do make such an impression on them. But in light of that, how do you get them? And it may be just a natural flow of events, but I like what you talk about when you're getting them to when you're getting them to actually commit to the appointment. There's something that you say about, hey, I'm not asking you to decide anything on the phone.
Correct.
Will you go into that and how you segue into
exactly, and that's crucial. I mean, because if you have something, remember, you're going to eventually get in your car. You could drive an hour and a half. You got to keep an eye on your gas. The most important aspect of an agent is, time, time. You're not on a guaranteed income, so you have to maximize your time in your life. So what you do, I said earlier, you have to minimize your risk. You want to make sure that these folks are ready to go. One of the things I do is I'll jump up and I'll tell them, I say, listen, okay, fantastic. Okay, so after you quote them, you give them a variance of premiums, and they're going to give you some feedback, believe me. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. I can deal with that. Okay, look, I'll tell you what. Immediately what I say is, okay, I'll tell you what, don't put the pressure on yourself at this point. I'm going to put a folder together for you with several different face amounts and costs, okay? And I don't expect anybody to make a decision on the telephone. When we come out there, we're going to go ahead and over the company. I'm going to put you at all our companies are A-rated. There's a particular company you qualify for. And we're going to explain and answer all your questions regarding the company. Remember, you absolutely got to build value on this thing, and you also have to build credibility because they want to sit down with somebody that they feel comfortable with. So, and then you say at that point, then I'm going to go ahead and show you the amounts and the costs, and only you know, Miss Jones, what your budget is. So, at your dining room table, you look it over and you decide what best fits your budget. And if you do a really good job in the presentation and they really like you and you build a lot of value, guess what? I can tell you from personal experience, and Justin can testify to this, they will bump themselves. I mean, they might want $10,000 on a whole life plan, and they end up walking out picking up 20,000. And the only reason why they did that, I believe, is the effective presentation you did. So your job basically is to make on the phone is to qualify. And here's the number one thing at the end of the appointment setting on the phone. Once they agree that you're in their wheelhouse as far as their budget's concerned, and he definitely needs his coverage. What you want to do politely, and it just took me years and years to figure this thing out, because believe me, like all agents, when you first start, everything sounds great on the phone, and you go out there and you're shopping around, and it's a totally wasted 3-hour round trip, and what the hell happened? What I say to them, real politely, is, okay, let's get back to what I said earlier. I don't want you to make a decision on the phone right now, Miss Jones, but I'm going to go ahead and go to work for you, and I'm going to present this to you. Let me ask you this: if I'm able to, if you're able to see everything and like what you see, are you ready to apply? I mean, think about it. Say the tables were turned and somebody calls you up and has something that you're in the market for. You're not asking them to buy it on the phone. What they're asking you is, if we know you're in the market for this, I'm not asking you to decide right now, but reasonably, if you like what you see, are you ready to apply? And that will totally separate the pretenders from the contenders, basically. And once they say, sure, if you show me what I like and everything's cool, yeah, I'm ready to roll. So that's another thing. The other thing you want to think about is on the this is what I came up with over the last 12 to 18 months, because of the economy, because of the budget. Think about it. Everybody wants coverage, but what does it come down to? If they're relatively insurable, what does it come down to? Come on, let's be honest. It comes down to money. It comes down to their mortgage, their rent, their car payment, food on the table. There's a food chain and a priority list of everybody out there. And what I tell them is, okay, most of these companies, Mrs. Jones, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead. There's no physical examination required, say, for example, on a typical whole life plan. We do the application, and there'll be a 10-minute interview from the insurance company just to verify your answers on the application. And the other wonderful thing is, you don't have to pay up front. What they do require is you have a bank account. So what we're going to do is you're going to tell us what day of the month you want this to come out of your account. In most cases, some of your elderly folks are on fixed incomes. This is very, very important to them. You don't want to lose a sale or an appointment because they're thinking on the phone, oh, God, he's going to come out Friday, and I have no money in my account. I don't get my monthly Social Security check or whatever until the 3rd. You totally just take that objection away, and they can't come back with, I want to think about it, because that's what they're doing. They're just financially not ready at that moment. And you'd be amazed. Oh, really? Yes, yeah. You just basically tell us what day of the month you want it to come out. In most cases, we get you approved. We submit the application. It's printed, issued, and mailed to you. And then when that day comes that you told us when we met you, guess what? That's when the policy goes into effect.
That's awesome. That's awesome, guys. I've heard him do it, and that's now you know how he's doing what he's doing. Ted, we're going to, for the sake of keeping these in small bite-sized pieces, we're going to go ahead and end this call, because that's a lot to digest what you just went through, and it was absolutely outstanding. I want to thank you. Hey, listen, buddy, thank you so much. I have a feeling that there's going to be some requests for more input from you, so we will have you on again in the very, very near future.
Very good. I appreciate the time.
All right, brother. Thanks, Ted.